You've felt it before. That knot in your stomach when you're anxious. That churning sensation before a difficult conversation. We've always assumed it was just nerves. Turns out, it's chemistry. Your gut and your brain are in constant conversation, and the microbes living in your intestines. They're not just listening in, they're writing the script. In early 2025, scientists in Singapore made a discovery that could change everything we know about treating anxiety. Not with pills, not with therapy. With bacteria. They found the exact molecules produced by gut bacteria that travel to your brain's fear center and tell it to calm down. The implications are staggering. What if the cure for anxiety isn't in your medicine cabinet? What if it's been in your gut the whole time, waiting for the right bacteria to produce it? Scientists have suspected a gut-brain connection for decades, but most of the research has been frustratingly vague. Correlations, associations. We knew something was happening, just not what. People with anxiety often have digestive problems. People with digestive problems often develop anxiety. But which causes which? It's been impossible to untangle. The connection runs both ways. When you're stressed, your gut suffers. When your gut's in trouble, your mood tanks. It's a loop, and a potentially vicious one. Your gut contains roughly 100 trillion microorganisms, more bacterial cells than human cells in your entire body. They help you digest food, they produce vitamins, and as we're learning, they do so much more. When these bacteria break down the food you eat, they produce hundreds of different chemical compounds, metabolites. Some of these molecules are powerful enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. The blood-brain barrier is one of the body's most protective structures. It keeps toxins and pathogens out of your brain, but somehow these gut-produced molecules slip right through. And they don't just wander aimlessly once they're in. Some of these molecules target specific brain regions with remarkable precision. Regions involved in emotion, in fear, in anxiety. In 2025, scientists at Duke-NUS Medical School in Singapore published research that finally cracked the mechanism. They identified the exact molecules that link gut bacteria to anxiety in the brain. The molecules are called indoles. They're produced when gut bacteria metabolize tryptophan, an amino acid found in foods like turkey, eggs, cheese, and nuts. Tryptophan is the same amino acid famous for making you sleepy after Thanksgiving dinner, but your gut bacteria use it to create something far more powerful. When bacteria convert tryptophan into indoles, these molecules enter your bloodstream. They travel through your body, cross the blood-brain barrier, and arrive at a very specific destination: the basolateral amygdala. This is your brain's fear center. It's the region that activates when you sense danger, feel threatened, or experience anxiety, and indoles have a direct effect on it. The researchers found that indoles reduce neuronal activity in the basolateral amygdala. They literally dial down the brain's fear response. More indoles, less anxiety. To prove this connection, the team used mice raised in completely sterile conditions, germ-free mice with no gut bacteria whatsoever. These animals showed significantly higher levels of anxious behavior. Compared to normal mice with healthy gut microbiomes, the germ-free mice were measurably more fearful. They explored less. They froze more often. Their behavior screamed anxiety. Then came the critical test. The researchers gave these anxious, bacteria-free mice a dose of indoles. Not bacteria, just the molecules that bacteria would normally produce. The result was remarkable. After receiving indoles, the mice's anxiety plummeted. They began exploring their environments again. Their fear responses normalized. The gut molecule had calmed their brains. This wasn't a subtle effect. The transformation was clear and measurable. Brain scans showed reduced activity in the exact region responsible for fear, the basolateral amygdala. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. The researchers didn't just discover that indoles reduce anxiety. They mapped the entire pathway from gut bacteria to brain chemistry. The indoles don't just randomly calm the brain. They target specific receptors on neurons in the amygdala. It's a precise molecular interaction, not a vague gut feeling, but actual pharmacology. This precision matters enormously for treatment. If we know exactly which molecules work and exactly where they work, we can design interventions that target anxiety at its source. The research team is now planning clinical trials to test whether indole-based probiotics or supplements can effectively treat anxiety in humans, from mice to medicine. But we should be careful about over-promising. The leap from animal models to human treatments is significant. Previous gut-brain interventions have shown mixed results in clinical trials. Some scientists caution against overhyping psychobiotics. Germ-free mice raised in sterile laboratories are not the same as humans with established microbiomes. The translation is complicated. Still, the researchers are optimistic. As they noted, restoring microbial balance through dietary supplementation with indoles or introducing indole-producing bacteria could become a promising strategy for mental health care. Think about what this means. For decades, anxiety treatment has focused on two main approaches: pharmaceutical medications that alter brain chemistry, and talk therapy that reshapes thought patterns. Both approaches work for many people, but both have limitations. Medications often come with side effects. Therapy requires time, money, and access. Not everyone gets the help they need. Probiotic treatments could offer a third path: lower cost, fewer side effects, easier access. A bottle of capsules containing the right bacteria might become as common as vitamin supplements. Of course, the bacteria have to be alive to produce indoles. That's a manufacturing challenge. Keeping probiotics viable through production, shipping, storage, and the acidic journey through your stomach. But pharmaceutical companies are already solving similar problems for other probiotic products. The technical barriers are high, but not insurmountable. So what can you do right now while we wait for clinical trials? The research suggests that supporting your gut bacteria might be one way to support your mental health. Consider foods rich in tryptophan, the raw material for indole production: turkey, eggs, cheese, nuts, seeds. These provide what your gut bacteria need to manufacture those calming molecules. Fermented foods may also help: yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir. These contain live bacteria that contribute to gut microbiome diversity. More diversity generally means better gut health. Antibiotics can disrupt your gut bacteria population. If you're prescribed antibiotics, consider discussing probiotic restoration with your healthcare provider afterward. Notice the connection in your own body. When you're anxious, do you have digestive symptoms? When your gut's upset, does your mood shift? This bidirectional relationship is real, not imagined. The research team noted, indigenous microbes produce metabolites which suggest a direct link between microbiota and maintaining mental balance. This isn't speculation anymore, it's science. We're at an inflection point in how we understand mental health. The old model, brain chemistry exists separately from the rest of your body, is giving way to something more integrated. Your brain is not an isolated organ floating above your body. It's intimately connected to your gut, your immune system, your hormones, your microbiome. Everything talks to everything. The gut contains its own nervous system, sometimes called the second brain. It has over 100 million neurons, more than your spinal cord. It produces many of the same neurotransmitters found in your brain. In fact, about 95% of your body's serotonin, a key mood-regulating neurotransmitter, is produced in your gut, not your brain. The chemistry of happiness starts in your intestines. The Duke-NUS research adds another layer to this picture. It shows that gut bacteria don't just influence your mood indirectly, they produce specific molecules that directly regulate brain activity. This is not a metaphor. It's not a loose connection. When your gut bacteria metabolize tryptophan into indoles, those molecules physically travel to your brain and reduce anxiety at the neuronal level. The implications extend beyond anxiety. Depression, stress disorders, even some neurodegenerative conditions may involve the gut-brain axis. The microbiome frontier is just opening up. If you're dealing with anxiety, this research doesn't mean you should stop your current treatment. But it suggests that gut health might be an underappreciated factor worth discussing with your doctor. Stay informed as this research develops. Clinical trials are coming. We may be on the verge of an entirely new category of mental health treatment, one that works with your body's natural systems. Be skeptical of current products claiming to cure anxiety with probiotics. Until clinical trials confirm efficacy in humans, these claims remain unproven. Science-based doesn't mean science confirmed yet. What we're witnessing is a paradigm shift. Mental health treatment is expanding from the brain outward, recognizing that emotional well-being involves your entire body, including its microbial residents. The bacteria living in your gut aren't passive hitchhikers. They're active participants in your mental life. They produce molecules that shape your emotional experience. They've been doing it your whole life. Your microbiome is established in early childhood and influenced by everything from how you were born to what you were fed to the antibiotics you've taken. It's as individual as your fingerprint. And that microbiome has been quietly influencing your brain chemistry all along. Every meal you eat, every antibiotic you take, every fermented food you consume, it all shapes this internal ecosystem. We started with that familiar feeling, the knot in your stomach when anxiety hits. It turns out that knot is part of a conversation. Your gut and brain are talking. And the microbes living inside you, they're translating that conversation, turning food into chemistry, chemistry into calm. It's been happening all along, we just didn't know how. If you found this useful, consider subscribing. We explore connections like this every week. The science of why we feel what we feel and what we might do about it. The next time you feel that anxious churning in your gut, remember, it's not just nerves, it's biology. And maybe, just maybe, the cure has been living inside you the whole time.